This intro video belongs to the years 13 to 19 of my lifetime soundtrack and introduces one of George Harrison's instrumental pieces which were released on his solo album Wonderwall Music. Towards the end of the year 1968, George Harrison released a solo album titled Wonderwall Music. He wrote the music as a soundtrack for the British movie Wonderwall, where Jane Birkin played the leading female part. From a musical point of view, you could see the Wonderwall as a wall between Western and Indian music. A wall, however, which was made quite permeable by Harrison's music. About half the pieces are in an Indian music style, using Indian instruments like sitar, tabla and many others. The other half in a more common Western rock music style. At that, the recordings took place partly in the Abbey Road studios in London, partly in Mumbai. I always found George Harrison the best composer of the Beatles. I would say Paul McCartney wrote many beautiful songs, but in my eyes he was more the entertainer, whereas George Harrison wrote less songs, especially for the Beatles, but all of them had a depth that made them very special. As you might know, George Harrison was very keen on the Indian music, the Indian culture, the Indian philosophy, and Hinduism as the main Indian religion. You might summarize this in the term spiritual transcendence. But wait a minute, doesn't transcendence have another meaning in mathematics? Indeed, and I fancied both, as you see on this slide. It was in my 10th grade when I covered my exercise book in mathematics with a copy of the transcendental number pi to 2000 decimal places, although the term copy is a bit misleading. For this slide I could copy the number from the internet. That wasn't possible at that time. I had a book of mathematical history that showed a facsimile reproduction of a computer calculation of pi. But our school had only just one photocopier, to which only teachers had access. So I copied the number manually by means of my mother's typewriter. I claim that I didn't make a mistake, but I can't prove that anymore. But I was also interested in the spiritual side of transcendence, not least because of George Harrison's music. So I covered another exercise book with the symbol for the sacred syllable of the Hinduism, Om. Pi and Om, in some sense, this could still be the symbols for my two sides. As an example of Harrison's Wonderwall soundtrack, however, I chose one of the pieces with a more Western touch.